What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. So Call of Duty Advanced Warfare has been out for a good week now. In that time I've been able to beat the campaign once, play it another time halfway through on Veteran. I've played a bit of the Exo survival mode, and I've also quite extensively played the multiplayer mode. And in multiplayer I've reached the very first prestige now, which I think means that ever since the first Black Ops game, this might be the Call of Duty game where I've actually reached another prestige. So it tells you that it's been quite a while since I've played you know, a Call of Duty game for a very long time, and this has been the first time where I have reached first prestige, and I already have done so in, you know, 1 or 1.5 weeks. That's a very good sign, of course. So then I think it's time to do my review for the game. Now, of course, and I've said this before in a previous video, the Call of Duty games consist of 3 modes: campaign, Exo survival mode, and a multiplayer. Let me start off with the campaign. So I did not think, contrary to maybe some other people, that the story mode in this Call of Duty game was that great. I thought it was enjoyable, but the story, the plot in itself was pretty decent, I would say. You know, they hired some good actors like Kevin Spacey, Troy Baker played the main character, the cutscenes were very well done and of super high quality. They were all pre-rendered, but they looked incredible, like a completely new bar has been set in terms of pre-rendered cutscenes even in video games. I think with this game it looks amazing, let me just, you know, say it like that. But the story itself I thought was pretty okay. You know, I've played pretty much all the Call of Duty games ever since Modern Warfare 2, except for maybe Ghosts, and I would say that Modern Warfare and Black Ops did have better plots, better stories overall. That being said, what you can expect from this campaign mode is the exact same, with, you know, huge set pieces, and also a campaign that offers a lot of variety. You know, it only lasts about 5 hours, but in those 5 hours you have around 15 missions, and they're all super different. You know, every single mission introduces you to a new environment, maybe to a new gadget, new equipment that you use, and a completely different mission structure. You know, some might be all out guns blazing, the other ones maybe a stealth section. Hell, there was even a point at one time, I think, where it was almost trying to be kind of like a horror game, where you were going to this super dark environment, and it was all in all pretty scary actually, and I thought it was very applaudable. You know, they try to do new things all the time, and therefore I would say that this campaign was very enjoyable, and it's completely what you can expect from a Call of Duty game, but that means that I think, you know, they've always been very good, and I would highly recommend people who are picking up this game to also play the campaign. You know, don't just dive into multiplayer and start playing that, because the campaign is still very much worth it, especially because it's so short. I wouldn't want to miss out on it. I think they've always been very enjoyable. This one is no exception to that. It's just that the story in itself I thought was not comparable to, say, a Black Ops, maybe even a Modern Warfare. But still, you know, a good campaign nonetheless. So there is the Exo survival mode. I have to be honest about that. I've maybe only played it for a good 10 or 15 minutes, and that is because, you know, I played it and it's totally not my thing. I think it's very comparable to what Modern Warfare 3 had, which was the Spec Ops survival mode. They basically sent a shit ton of like waves of enemies at you that you all have to kill, and in between rounds you can just choose to spend your money on upgrading your weapons, upgrading different, you know, like score streaks that you have, I think, or like, yeah, certain equipment and gadgets that you use. It is good, but it's just not something for me. I would not play this, and therefore I have not played it. But finally, what the Call of Duty games are and will always be about, of course, is the multiplayer. So let me just get into that. Now, I have a hard time thinking what to start off with here, because it's so big. You know, there's so many different aspects to the multiplayer, but I think the obvious thing to start off with is the Exo abilities. Of course, you can now double jump, boost, dash in the air, and it just adds a completely different layer to what we already know of Call of Duty multiplayer. I think, you know, honestly, it does not take away from the fact that this is a Call of Duty game. It still very much feels like one, and it plays so well. It feels so very satisfying. And I see that there's a lot of, you know, people always do different things. There's some people who maybe use the Exo abilities all the time. You just see them jumping in the air, you know, constantly flying through the air, you know, kind of like shooting at you while in the air. But some people also still play it very much like an old COD game, where they just run around, they don't use that stuff at all. No, they just use the basic abilities and just, you know, decide to stay on the ground and shoot people from there. That in itself brings a lot of different aspects, abilities and varieties to it that I think is very cool. Me myself, I really play it like someone who keeps flying through the air, jumping and stuff all the time, and I really enjoy that. Once again, it feels super satisfying. Of course, the impact that your guns make and stuff, there's not a lot of recoil, but still hitting an enemy feels super good, and now being able to fly through the air and kill someone from there is even more satisfying, and once again adds a different layer to it that I think is a very welcome addition. So you have the pick 13 system, which I absolutely love because it means that, you know, you are just able to customize your class completely to the way you want it. Do you want to play with, for example, grenades and with these exo abilities where you get, for example, I think it is like for you know, quicker health regeneration, or that you get, you know, you have an ability where you just are able to sprint faster for a certain time. If you want that stuff, then that is there for you and you can choose that. I myself never use that. I always forget to use it, and therefore I can purely focus on just one gun with a lot of attachments and at the same time use like 5 total perks or something. I do not want a lot of score streaks. No, I just choose to have one in my setup, which is the Orbital Care package, where I just get a random kill streak all the time, or score streak they are now called. Yeah, I'm still very much thinking of this as in the Modern Warfare 2 days, because that's where, of course, you had kill streaks. Still have to get used to that it's now called score streaks, and that, you know, now it's not really that much depending on you getting kills, but also just getting, for example, flag captures and stuff like that. There's a lot of different modes, you know, you can play. I myself still love to play Kill Confirmed, Search and Destroy, and a new mode that's called Momentum, which is pretty much king of the hill, and I very much enjoy it. Now, once again, this pick 13 system, I think it is great because it just allows people to play completely different from each other. And you'll see that some people, you know, decide to go guns blazing, have like 2 primary guns with a lot of attachments, maybe don't focus as much on the perks and on the abilities, while on the other hand you have people who maybe only really just use one gun, a lot of perks, you know, all of the exo abilities and stuff. I think it is great all in all. And then the final thing I want to talk about is the maps. Now, I've said it before, I think maps are really important in the game. There's pretty much 2 different aspects to the maps for me that makes them good. One is the theme. They need to look good, they need to be different from each other, but of course there's also the whole map structure. I think in terms of structure, they're a lot more open in this game. That's because so many people use these exo abilities, but they are very good. The thing is, I don't think they are very memorizable. You know, they're not. These maps, I'm not gonna remember them in 2 or 3 years from now when I'm playing a different game. I will not be like, oh yeah, remember Advanced Warfare? Those maps were incredible. No, I don't have that. I really had that with Modern Warfare 2, for example, but this game is not looking to be like that. Still, once again, the maps are really good. And just all in all suit the exo abilities and the way people play, the different styles, they suit them very much. All in all, what can I say about this Call of Duty game? I think that it's, you know, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's completely what you can expect if you've been playing Call of Duty games for a long time now. It's a very enjoyable game with a good campaign, with the exo survival mode that's very good, but it's not, you know, for everyone. It's not for me, but maybe you might still enjoy that. And the multiplayer in itself is one of the more fun multiplayers that I've played in a long time now. So all in all, I think the game is great. It's not completely new, but still, you know, a game that I would recommend to everybody who loves multiplayer games nonetheless. I give Call of Duty Advanced Warfare an 8.5 out of 10. Thanks a lot for watching.